Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and for today we have the deck profile to the deck we would have brought to Locals last week, being Flame Swordsman. I ended up being too busy with a commitment in my personal life that I needed to finish, so I ended up not going, but this is what we would have brought. Here's what it looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, we of course have 3 copies of Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. This guy is sort of like a, kind of like a plan B. He's actually what allowed me to win game 1 against Ubel. So I think everyone kind of knows what he does at this point. This is like the 3rd or 4th deck profile that I've done on this deck, so this one's going to be really, really quick, because I don't have to explain a bunch of stuff. Mirage Swordsman, just for floating. We got 1 of it. 3 copies of Metal Flame Swordsman, of course, to inflict burn damage and to go with the Metal Morph package. 3 copies of Dark Flare Swordsman. This is basically a Magician's Souls for the deck. Very, very good. And you contribute it with its own effect to special summon the Fighting Flame Swordsman straight from your deck, which is a searcher. And then it dumps when it leaves the field, so that's really good for the deck. 1 copy of Blue Flame Swordsman, just in case we need the extra attack boost. 3 copies of Sublimation Knight. This is a second normal summon that we can use if we don't have a way to get to the Dark Flare Sword, or not Dark Flare Swordsman, Fighting Flame Swordsman. Next, 3 copies of Salamandra the Flying Flame Dragon. This one searches a spell or trap when it's sent to the grave and can equip itself to a Flame Swordsman. Moving on to the spells. 3 copies of Fighting Flame Sword. This one can be a negate, a pop, or a search, just depending on what you need. Next, 3 copies of Flame Sword's Realm. This is what lets you special summon the Flame Swordsman out of the extra deck. Next, 3 copies of Salamandra Fusion. This is, of course, what allows us to summon our ultimate Flame Swordsman from the extra deck, and then this also puts itself in the grave, so we can have it as fuel for Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. Next, 3 copies of Fusion Armament, just another way to get to a body from our extra deck to send it with the Flame Swords Realm. The next, 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army and 3 copies of Upstart Goblin just to increase consistency. Finally, moving on to the traps, we got Salamander with Chain and Flame Swords Dance for the searchable ones within the Flame Swordsman archetype. They both book a monster face down, which is really nice. They do have graveyard effects, but they don't usually come up that often, so I'm not really going to talk about them right now. And finally, 2 copies of Max Metal Morph, to, of course, go with our Metal Flame Swordsman. I'm running 3 just because that way we have more monsters to send to the graveyard with the effect of Flame Swords Realm, because Max Metal Morph can also summon it from the graveyard, so, you know, it's fine. And, yeah, that's it for the main deck. Now we're going to go to the extra deck. Like I said, this one's going to be really, really quick, because this is like the 3rd or 4th deck profile I've done on this deck this year. So, first, coming out of Doom of Dimensions, we, of course, have the newest addition to the deck, Leviathan the Burning Blade. Basically, he lets us, as a quick effect, tribute a fire monster besides himself, then target a fire in our grave with the same original type, but a lower level. So we can switch out some of our warrior monsters for each other. And then if a card would be destroyed in our spell and trap zone, we can actually banish him instead, so he can protect some of our back row. You know, like our Max Metal Morph and our Salamander with Chain and such. Then, of course, we have 3 copies of Ferocious Flame Swordsman. He gives warriors an extra 500 attack and floats into a non-link warrior when he's destroyed. 3 copies of Fighting Flame Dragon. This is what you're mainly going to be sending to the graveyard with the effect of the Dark Flare Swordsman. And when he's equipped to a Flame Swordsman, that monster can attack twice. 3 copies of the OG Flame Swordsman, of course, because we have to use him as material for our next monster, the Ultimate Flame Swordsman. So, He can target a monster our opponent controls, pop it, and then inflict 500 damage. And that becomes a quick effect if he has an equip card equipped to him. And then during the damage step, he can double his attack, but he gets destroyed during the end phase if he activates that effect. But of course, this is more of a going second OTK sort of deck, so the idea is that your opponent will not live during, they're not going to live past the turn that you activate that effect. But yeah, so that's it for the deck profile. Like I said, super, super short, because this is the third or fourth one I've done on this deck this year. Not saying that is a bad thing, but you can only, explain things so many times. But yeah, so this is probably going to be the shortest deck profile on the channel, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.